Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time. Welcome everybody to the ToV live stream, the ToV podcast. Happy holiday weekend to everybody because it's Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day.
That's not stopping us from putting in a little labor tonight. Labor of love because we are going to be taking a look at. And that just came out of my head, just right there. I didn't have to even think about that.
Pretty witty there.
Yeah, witty. I need at least one. Just one. That's it. I mess up the rest of the time. That's fine. Anyway, New Generation Customs released Wave 2 just a few days ago, so we're going to take a look at that, see what stands out to us. We're going to do that in a little bit. We're also going to be taking a look at Thormun's Journal. Finally, we read... I don't know how many times we've canceled reading a Thormun's Journal 18, 19, and 20. It's been at least twice. So.
This is the reason why Thormun decided to fight back, because we didn't read his story. It's our fault.
Yeah. So third time is hopefully the charm, and we're going to be reading that tonight. Plus, we're going to take a look at a hero. I mean, Atlaga. I think it's Atlaga. I know it may be pronounced different from different people, but Atlaga, the Kyrie War, we're going to take a look at that a little bit later. Plus some other things tonight as well for the podcast. But hello, everybody out there watching. And I just want to give also a special nod to everybody who listens to the podcast via the Audiosphere, Spotify, and such, because we have an audience, guys. It's actually quite interesting how the it just keeps on going up a little bit. The views keep on going up a little bit. So I just want to say hello to everybody who's listening to the wonderful sound of our voices and not actually looking at anything, but listening. We appreciate you and we thank you for that support. But yes, tonight we have on the panel, of course, Sir Jeremy, the Elysium Cullet. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Pretty good.
Very good. Glad you could join us, sir. And we have Jason Rutherford, Rock Robotics, Tabletop Battlefield. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing well also.
Great. And as a special guest, second time appearing, we have Josiah, a.k.a. RogueScaper, on the panel tonight. Josiah, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you here. And I thought we were just talking about you a couple Sundays in your YouTube channel. Just all the amazing videos that you're posting. So glad you could join us tonight.
You say my name like 3 times, I'll pop up. That's how I work.
Okay, so what we're going to cover tonight, then we'll just get right into it. First thing, I want to give a couple of YouTuber shout-outs. And here, I'm just going to bring it up. And so there's Wave 2 Rolex. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Just hold on one second. I just want to give a couple shout-outs to some YouTubers we mentioned last time, to where we said it looks like they're probably going to post videos, and they did. So just two, I want to point out Cheeky Hines. He did actually end up posting something, comparing an anime that he knows to HeroScape. I recommend people check it out. So he is getting his channel started, and he doesn't have enough subscribers. Please, there is a link in the description below, not only on YouTube, but I think it's going to be on Spotify as well. Subscribe. Give this guy some numbers. Give him some encouragement so he can keep on growing his channel. Because that subscriber count needs to be higher. So go to him. Anyway, that's Cheeky Hines, and then we also have Blast Shark, who did this Maro painting HeroScape guide. And again, this is another, as well as like 2 easy ways to paint HeroScape. These 2 videos, I'm going to be watching these over and over again when I start painting, because they're just really well done, very, very informative. So, and he doesn't have enough subscribers either way. Go back up this way. Wait a second. As it was, but just 40 subscribers. Come on, HeroScape community, we can do better. Give these guys some support because they're doing some really good stuff or getting started doing really good stuff. Please give them the support. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, that was the PSA for tonight, and now let's move on to Thormun's journal. It's been a while since we've been here. Actually, it's I don't even know where to begin. I think I need to pop up the screen though. Okay, Thormun's journal entry. Okay, Jandar's orders journal entry 18. Jeremy, would you like to do the honors for that first journal entry 18, that whole paragraph?
I gotcha. All right, journal entry 18. Ular told us that he was gathering an army to send to Nostralund. Salen would lead her newly acquired Viper army to assist Jandar's army. Upon hearing this, we told him that we had highly confidential information from Jandar. After Ular excused his 5 companions, we told him the secret information that Jandar had revealed to us. Ular was relieved to know there might be a way to return his friends to their homeland, even though the way seemed nearly impossible.
Alrighty. Journal entry 19. Who wants to take a stab at that?
I'll go ahead and read it.
Alright, go ahead, Jason.
After the feast, Ular took us to the grand courtyard, eager to show us his army. Once there, we could hardly believe our eyes. A giant 3 times the size of an average Kyrie stood tall in the courtyard. His name, we learned, was Jotun.
All right. And RogueScaper, do you want to do journal entry 20, or would you rather me do it?
I can read it. I don't have the Twitch pulled up on so I'm just trying to see if I can pull up my phone here just for a second. It's kind of small, but I might have it pulled up on my computer. All right, I think I have it here. Even more impressive than the giant were the hundreds of snake-like creatures that Ular called vipers. These repellent Greek beings. Is that what it is? I'm sorry. It's really small.
Yeah.
Green beings.
Yeah.
Look fierce, hungry, and ready for battle.
Okay, so that is 20. So this is in essence Ular or Uller, or whatever facsimile of a name that you want to call this Valkyrie general. Yeah, so gathering there, you got heroes taking a visit. What stands out most to this?
I think the way that people can go home. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
just the fact that there's like a through line for people to come home. There is like a kind of a final destination, like an end to the story, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I always found that interesting and never explored again.
Yeah, this was a pretty heavy, part of that plot point. Like I was mentioning, the first 2 chapters were kind of, the first chapter is kind of just dedicated to intros and stuff like that, kind of like setting the stage. But this part, this established the narrative of HeroScape in helping us understand why everyone was fighting, or at least the Alliance, why the Alliance was fighting. Because you wanted to, Jandar had this vision, and he was like, look, we need to get together and stop this, otherwise things, Udgar is going to take over and then start sending his armies to the other planets. And it's just going to become a galactic problem if they don't stop it on Valhalla. So he's like, we need to become friends with these people. Now, Ular, the family friend, right? Ular's family and Jandar's family have been allies for generations. So this was kind of an easy alliance to start with. But it does help, provide that kind of background information. It's, a lot of people didn't really know how the alliances worked, but we do have this kind of interaction between them two. And we now know Ular and Jandar are basically besties in this situation. They're helping each other out because, they have that history, and so not only do they have that history of being allies, they now have a reason to work together, and that reason is to get their people home, or get the soldiers that they draft into the war. Be like, look, we just need your help for this moment, and as soon as you're done, we can send you back. And that's that's something to fight for. So pretty cool stuff.
So the actual promise of like they're there in Valhalla fighting, but
Yeah,
they're
it's a
promised that
temporary thing.
when it was all done that they would go back to where they were.
It was implied that they would be able to do so. Like the vision showing Ugar taking over and forcing the human to open a portal to Earth suggests that the magic there was a kind of a reversal effect, but they needed to get all the amulet keys before they could do that. And so, not only is it a race to work together to stop Ugar from taking over, it's also a race to find these 15 amulet keys because without the keys they can't do what this vision is telling them to do or allowing them to send people back. So they're like, okay, so now we need to work together and find these keys, and then get going from that point.
Now, isn't there also discussion about the fact that if you had heroes returning back to the times that they belong to, or the times of the worlds that they belong to, they left because they were about to die? Would they be right back in the
Right.
situation that they were in to begin with?
That's the thing. There's no knowing. Like
Mm.
if the idea was to send people back either before their deaths, after the said death would have happened, there really was no indication of what time that they would be placed back. Just that the opportunity to do so was on the horizon. So they were like, all right, well, some chance is better than no chance. So I
Right.
think that's what they were looking at, was the slight possibility of being able to send people home was good enough for them.
Right. Oh, and they
I
even
mean,
say,
if Utgar can like send armies to other planets, though, it seems like you have some control over when you send people back,
Yeah.
unless, like, if he invades Earth, all the humans go back to the moment right before they're about to die, and then they just die, no fight in the invasion, or what?
Right. Yeah. That was the thing. He was planning on, in Jandar's vision, he was shown having basically taken a human captive and forcing this human to open the gate to Earth, and then he flooded the gate to Earth with a ton of Marrow. So that was like the implications was that if Ugar wins this war, he's not going to stop fighting. He's going to continue to battle onto other planets and take those over as well. So they were like, we need to stop him because he's overboard.
It's out of line.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, I mean, and I even like kind of mention it in Tales of a Hat a little bit, to where there's a moment or two where the Airborne Elite mention the fact that about going back home, not being where they're at currently, and that I might turn that more into a stronger plot line in future seasons as well. Because that longing to just finally be done with everything, I think can hold a strong pull, even if it seems like it's at the very end of journal entry 18. Even though the way seemed nearly impossible, even if it seems like an impossibility, like you said, Jeremy, the slightest chance
Right.
can pull you. So yeah, I can see how that kind of gives the story just a little bit more like emotion, for the characters.
There's a shared goal now
Mm-hmm.
between these individuals. They might have different motives overall because we never really understand, Ular. We never got backstory of how Ular found the wellspring and how he started summoning. We don't get any of that information. We just know by the time they show up to make this alliance, he's already summoned hundreds of elves. He's already summoned the giant. He's already summoned the vipers. So he's been well at this for a good while, and so we don't know Ular's motives, but we do know because of that family alliance between the two of them, they were already buddies to start from the beginning. And they even when they mentioned the alliance in the first place, Jandar and Ular were considered the OG good characters of the story, whereas it was Utgar, and then at the time Einar and Vidar had allied with him until Utgar started going a little crazy and messing with them as well, and then they broke off later on and joined the other people. So
I think this journal is going to tie a lot into the Age of Annihilation's Dawn Raiders. Imagine you're telling someone for 10 years, oh yeah, you're going to go home. You just fight a little bit and you'll send you home. And 10 years later, you're still there. You're going to get a lot of
there.
grumpy people,
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'm pretty sure that's the biggest part of it is just the disillusionment. I think that's the fancy word for it. of everybody coming to realize, even Thormun, right? Thormun in the video, if you watch the video where they got him, the Voldemort devised him, he's just like, they said they were going to stop this years ago. We're still fighting. This is absurd at this point. Like what's going on? So we're opening, at least from what we understand, Age of Annihilation is opening on a setting of disillusioned warriors. People have been there for way too long, and they're tired. They want answers. Lots of mini rebellions, I think. So.
Yeah, I also want to point out again the artwork. The sketch drawings on these things. I hope Renegade, if they do continue journal entries, that they end up still with like sketch drawings of like, say, how do you pronounce the name, Jason? Juton. I say Juton. Did you say Joton?
Isn't it Joton? Isn't it Jotun?
Yeah. I don't know, for some
It's
reason
an awkward.
in my head it's strange.
So here's the awkward thing. Technically, I know I'm about to be super nerdy here.
Here we go.
That's technically Jotun.
Jotun.
Because it's Old Norse. Yeah, it's an Old Norse. The Old Norse word for giant is Jotun.
Jotun.
They pronounce
okay.
their J's with a Y. Yeah, but
that's where.
That's why, and I defend myself every time. That's why I told people Jandar is pronounced Yandar, because Old Norse J's are pronounced like a Y.
Right.
And then Craig was like, "No, it's Jandar." I'm like, "Bruh, why? What?" But it was funny. That was funny. But yeah, that's why. If everyone's like, "Why did you say Yandar?" It's like Old Norse J's.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the fun part of like when it comes to Tales of Valhalla, having like characters from Earth say Jandar,
right,
and use the hard J, but then you have like,
because that's how you would pronounce it in
yeah,
English.
and then
Absolutely.
you have residents of Valhalla like Raylan and Kelda, they called Jandar Yandar, so
I did like that.
those are the
I thought that was
characters.
super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, your insight into the lore helped.
Yeah.
With that. So
I'm not biased at all.
let's not stop. We're patting our own backs a little bit here, but
Shouldn't we ask the elves how they call him? Because he's from the elf world, so clearly how they pronounce J would be the correct way to pronounce J, and it may not align with traditional ancient Norse.
Very true. Yeah, so it's up to Savaris, but he can't do elves or elves. So
please don't make me speak Savaris, because it's a high pitch right now. And you don't want to hear that right now. That is way too annoying. But yes, I think we could do like a segment, and here I go off on brainstorming, but a segment called Savaris Says, and where Savaris just quotes things. I don't know, that would be a fun thing to script write. Anyway, okay, so anything else with this? We're I guess at the very end we're talking about the Vipers here. These repellent green beings look fierce, hungry, and ready for battle. And it's funny how they're described. Now, who's writing these journal entries again?
This is Thormun's perspective.
Oh, the Thormun. Okay, so he even calls them repellent. Okay, interesting.
Why is it got to be snakes?
Yeah, why is it got to be snakes? Expect pop culture references all the time here. So.
No, that's good.
But yeah, besides that, anything else anyone wants to say? Other than, what we mentioned, I look forward to journal entries in the future too. I'm just glad we're done with this segment, because this is the end of this booklet. Yeah.
Chapter 2. Yep.
And so we'll move on to that next time. Anybody has any other point with these?
That's everything for me. Yeah, I think it's just like a brief introduction to Alar's forces right afterwards, and kind of just give people an idea of what it looked like.
All right, so that would be it for the Thormun's journal entry. Finally finishing that book, and we'll move on to the next journal entries some other time. All right, now this is actually like turning into one of my favorite things to do with the ToV podcast is exploring, just looking at one specific hero or squad, taking a look at their stats, taking a look at that, looking at the lore, whatever background story is behind them, and really understanding the character and how to play it, or whether or not it's good for like tournament play, or whether it's good for fun, or both. And so tonight, who we have to look at here, okay, find the right window here. We have, ta-da, Atlaga, the Kyrie warrior. And yeah, let me do this. Okay, let me just read through Atlaga because there's not much. The character bio is NA, but I'm sure Jeremy might have a thing or two to say, hopefully, about Atlaga. But
I got you.
Right now, we'll just read what's on the card here. So Atlaga, the Kyrie warrior, obviously under Uller's banner. Kyrie, unique hero, warrior, confident, medium 6. Has this your special abilities: Kyrie leadership. All Kyrie you control, except Atlaga. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read that writing. Move 1 additional space. I'm just gonna. Okay, there. That's better. Others bolt of Witherwood. After moving and before attacking with Atlaga, you may choose any opponent's figure within 5 clear sight spaces of Atlaga. Roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 1 through 15, nothing happens. If you roll a 16 or higher, the chosen figure is destroyed. Atlaga may attempt to use this power only once per game. And then the flying ability, when counting spaces for Atlaga's movement. Ignore elevations. Atlaga may fly over water without stopping, pass over figures without becoming engaged, and fly over obstacles such as ruins. When Atlaga starts to fly, if he is engaged, he will take any leaving engagement attacks. Then you also have, so you've got a 4 life, a movement of 5, a range of 5, an attack of 4, not bad, and a defense of 3, coming in at 90 points. And now, oh, wait. And so for when it comes to the stats of this card, I don't think I've seen this this word too much on like the ScapeCon stage too much, because I think there's probably just better ones out there. But the Kyrie leadership is fun. If there were more Kyrie to use, I think that would be a fun ability to have to play.
Right.
Let's see here, yeah. Well, Kyrie control except Atlaga move 1 additional space, so it just helps their movement a little bit, which, I mean, movement can help in a game. Now, I was reading like below, and of course, like, and I forgot to put the link. I'll put the link after the podcast is the live stream of the podcast is done. But if you find this Books of HeroScape on HeroScapers.com, it gives you all this information plus conversation about said a hero or squad below. And I know one thing that was said was that Uller's Bolt of the Witherwood is pretty useless, but the wording is interesting to me because it says at the end, Atlaga may attempt to use this power only once per game. What does that mean? Atlaga may attempt. Does it mean does that mean you just can use it once?
You get one, yeah. You get 1 kill, and then when you get that kill, that's it.
Okay, and that's why I figured it's just a weird way to write a sentence. You might as well just say Atlaga can only attempt to use this power once instead of may.
Yeah, there's a. I think it's mainly because you can choose.
Yeah, it's the
like you don't have to use Bolt. Yeah.
Right. So this can only be used once. Yeah.
So you have a 1 shot during the course of the game for a 25% chance of a kill, and that's all you can use at one time.
Pretty much.
Yep.
It's great when it works. It's nothing better than 1 shot, So one's Q10,
Yeah.
but
for sure.
it's kinda just
Not
like,
a reliable strategy.
No.
I wouldn't use a strategy like that ever. Nope.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It might be fun, like in just casual play, but tournament play, you don't be taking those
Right.
chances. I'd say the attack and defense are fair. 90 points now. I don't know what the points would be for it for Delta, if it's less or more. I think actually for Delta it's actually 100 points. I think for some reason.
Okay.
So
range is really good.
yeah, the range is good because you got attack of 4, range
Mhm.
5. And so you got 4 life. That's not bad, especially since you're flying around. You can get high elevation and just start sniping people a little bit. Yeah, that helps. So in that case, yeah, it might not. I mean, how many flying heroes have a range you could fly around and then just end up with an extra attack? I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, that I think that I think you're right about that, RogueScaper. That to have them bounce around the field a little bit and that I think that's more of an advantage than the main ability, the bolt. Although it doesn't hurt to do it,
No.
just to be like, okay, let's see if I can destroy then potshot other people. So yeah, I can see it that way.
This guy's busted on maps with like little like castles around,
Right.
little small castles. Like he'd fly him up, and I've more casual maps. He's crazy. I use him a lot for like end game stuff, just because he's a cool sculpt and I love him. But
Yeah,
just,
no.
like when you have like 3 people on the board, your Bolt of the Witherwood is definitely worth like wiping someone out and then
Sure.
just zipping around.
Right.
No, and I would agree that the aesthetics, the how this miniature looks is beautiful. I mean, a Kyrie wielding a gun is that's fun. Absolutely.
Technically, it's an arbalist. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. I'm just.
All right. Were you turning? Oh, wait, what was it? Were you turning tabletop bro there for 5 seconds? I think.
Wait, what's that?
It sounds like something tabletop bro would say. If you saw his video, hey, that's another shout out. I mean, he did a video just the other day, and it's at the time of this recording, his most recent one, and it's a different than what he's done before, but it is hilarious. It got nothing to do with HeroScape. It's got more to do with like role playing games.
Tabletop thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, okay.
That's funny.
So good points. Good points. Now let's see here. Who synergizes? We're gonna go with synergies here for a second, and then we'll hop into lore.
It's all the Kyrie gets a bonus.
Yeah, pretty
One
much.
bonus.
Kyrie leadership, all Kyrie units. So that's Concon, Einar Imperium, Kiova, Kelda, minions, protectors, Raylan, Runa, Salen, Sentinels, Taylord, and C3V. You got a good amount of C3V too. I mean, it's a good amount, but again, the Kyrie or Kiri. I need to remember that it's Kiri, not Kyrie. Even though I'm sure like either way, but I know the official is Kiri. I know we could all use more Kiri, and
Right.
maybe with more Kiri, might end up being a more valuable piece on the board for all things. But yeah, it's got a good. You have a good selection to building your armies with it, so that is
It's fun
for
in
sure.
big point games to get
Big
this
point
guy
games,
and Marcus with the Einar and just have some super fast death assassins in the Imperium. But
Nice.
that's a hard format to get. But if you can get that all like a 700, 800 point format, the Imperium will slaughter everyone else because they're like moving 7 spaces with double attacks of 3. It's
Right.
crazy.
I wonder what the Imperium's Delta points are, because they're expensive in OG.
Right. And one thing I wanted to, what's the financial value of trying to acquire this miniature? I'm sure it's a little expensive because it's like wave 9,
Wave
right?
9.
Yeah,
Wave
so
9 was one of the
yeah.
least produced waves out there, so
Right.
it's less units.
It'd be a hard
per
one to find.
prediction, yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I have one in my collection or not. I don't remember. I think I do. I'm not 100% sure. I have to remember going through all my stuff. Yeah, I'll have to see. I'll have to double check and make sure.
Yeah, I think I got that. I was able to get Atlaga before they got rid of Wave 9. I can't remember if I bought it afterwards or if I bought it when it came out. It's been a while.
And all right, anything else on the stats or playing with it, and we'll jump into lore if there's nothing else to comment on that.
Because I don't think there are many other ranged flying figures in the game. I'm
Right.
trying to remember. I know there's the Protectors, but they were kind of released at the same time.
But
Yeah, they came in the same set.
The
Yeah.
Dragons have their special attack, but it's kind of something different. And I'm trying to think. These might be the only official classic ranged.
yeah, Drummond had.
Flyers.
I'm thinking it's the case with Atlaga, and Atlaga's kind of rare in that aspect. So as long as you use that advantage, on the battlefield for that, then yeah, that would certainly help because yeah,
I think
regular attack of 4 is no joke.
right. That defense is scary though. I feel like if you let Atlaga get surrounded, he's going to go down pretty quickly. So
But
you have to like.
again, height, you get defensive 4. Depending
Right.
on who's attacking. So just I guess depends where you're at. But yeah, I get it. All right.
I like more heroes with passive leadership, so you don't have to be adjacent. It just affects everyone with this personality or.
Yeah,
race
as long
or
as you have
whatever
them in the army. Yeah.
Cosmet, but better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's true for the Kyrie leadership part too. It doesn't matter, where they're
Right.
at on the board. They're affected by it. So yeah, that's a plus as well for sure. All right, anything else?
It's a really easy model to print and paint if you don't have them in your collection. He looks great, and even the 3D printed model is just still just as good. It's like 3
Nice.
colors on the model, so would recommend getting this one if you're looking to try an easy one out.
Very good point. And yeah, this is one reason why RogueScaper we have these discussions too, for people who might be just getting started and be like, hey, what would be relatively easy type of miniature for me to get, even though like the original miniature for Atlaga might be difficult and expensive to get. You're right, there are plenty of 3D printed options out there where you could purchase relatively cheap and just paint it yourself, or even if you don't worry about paint it, just if you have a miniature there on the board, and print out the card, and there you go. So yeah, easier to consider that being part of your army with those options for sure. All right. So how about we talk about lore, which it says character bio NA. And that's all I got for today.
Yep.
Congratulations. Okay, bye. Jeremy, what else could you tell us about?
So yeah, there's a pretty solid pocket of information we can actually talk about regarding the storyline and that Atlaga. The funny thing is, as you can see, there is no bio. The reason for that, for those may know or in the know, that Truth or Colby Dosh, the individual behind Plaid Hat Games, he was the one that was contracted to write those biographies when they first launched those units, but he was under NDA when he wrote them, and then they completely shifted the design direction towards the Dungeons and Dragons themed sets. So during the time, permission to release these bios just kind of never passed under Wizard of the Coast's nose, and they just never approved. So then when they discontinued it, that NDA is still in effect. So Truth has these bios completed. He just legally cannot release them. Because the permission was never granted. He was never able to get that permission. And as far as I know, either he still has them somewhere, or like we just need to figure out what the permission is needed to
shout
get
out
the
to
permission
Renegade.
granted.
Open.
Yeah, so if
unlock
Renegade
those
wants to
doors.
figure out how, some copyright stuff, or figure out how to break that NDA, because it's like, I mean, that was back in 2009. I'm pretty sure it's expired at this point, but I could be. I mean, I don't know if NDA is like was long-lasting, permanent terms. You know how the legal stuff.
Depends on the
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, depends on the
exactly.
contract. So I don't know what
There can be
exactly the terms
NDAs
of
that
his
last forever.
contract is. Yeah, right. So that would be the worst version of the story, is that we never get it because Wizards of the Coast is just like, nah, fam. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It is out there. That's the thing. It was written, but you
Yeah.
just haven't seen it.
There's
Now-
members-
Why Hasbro Wizards of the Coast would fight the NDA at this point, I don't know.
I know,
Unless
it's
there's
like,
some legal reason they just enforce those to look strong.
Yeah. But in terms of that, we actually learned about Atlaga much earlier than the launch of his unit. So like his character came out during Wave 9, but he was in Thormun's Journal Chapter 3. He's one of the speaking characters that talked to Thormun and the party of individuals who are traveling across Ekstrom. He meets them in that fortress. So we're actually, when we do the Thormun journals later on, we're going to read some entries, and then we're going to read in Atlaga's perspective. Like, he ends up explaining to them about the Volcarian wasteland. He's like, hey, so, we're doing our best holding the lines down here, but somehow random volcanoes have appeared. And it's like, bro, what? And, and so,
Random
like, he's the
volcanoes.
one. Yeah, well, because that was the thing. It was like Volcarian wasteland was introduced as, the lava set. But then in the world, they introduced it as a you know how like when a volcano explodes, it like builds up on itself, and that's where islands are created. Like Hawaii was a volcano at one point. And yeah, so apparently that happened, but an entire peninsula of land was formed by volcanic activity spontaneously, and Utgar was using it to cross into the jungle. And so Atlaga's like, hey, so we have a problem. Can you go deal with that? We'll take care of things here. And so that's how he introduces himself, as like volcanoes. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, so we actually got him talking to us years in advance prior to the unit's actual release. And then the next bit of information we got later on in 2010, they introduced him in one of the Dungeons and Dragons bios. So this was really cool because I want to say this was the devs' attempt to combine Classic with D&D for the first time ever. And it's the adventure called Road to the Underdark, if anyone's ever played that campaign scenario. And in Road to the Underdark, which was released in 2010, you have the OG adventurers from Battle from the Underdark as the starting characters, and then they're just traveling, and they get attacked by Jotun, which, I mean, we just read from Thormun's journal. And if you defeat Jotun, right, that's the succeeding element of the story. If you defeat Jotun, Atlaga appears to those adventurers and hands them the Bolt of the Witherwood, like the power that he has. He gives them a glyph which has the exact same power. And so, like, this is by far, out of everything that's ever been released, right? This was the first time ever that the Wizards of the Coast combined Classic with Dungeons and Dragons concepts. Like, everything else beforehand was just all D&D. Road to the Underdark is the first time they tried to meld the two worlds, and Atlaga was like part of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. They used him as like the voice piece of Alar. But yeah, other than that, we got nothing.
Well, it's something that hopefully, like, we'll know more in the future. Hopefully, a lot of these classic characters, a lot of their stories will be more revealed, and something that we'll probably might have to revisit
for everything
in the future for sure.
Right.
Well, no, but thank you, Jeremy, for sharing what you do know.
I gotcha.
Anything else to say about Atlaga before we finish this segment?
Everything I got.
Right.
He's S tier in how he looks. He's kind of mid range in how he plays, but he's cool. He's always a fun unit to have in your battlefield. He may not win your game for you, but if you get the Witherwood going, it's always a good day. But don't rely on it.
I could imagine.
Yeah, don't.
I mean, a free kill, regardless. Like, even if 25% is not very good odds, but like I've seen even less odds, and still have that happen. Like, I mean, Deadeye Dan, like, you have to get a 19 or 20 to get an auto kill, and you can't move in order for that to work, and it still happens. So, if you're willing to test the odds, you may never know. You might get the win because you somehow killed the most important unit with the Bolt of the Witherwood.
But I mean, with flying, and range, and moving around. And if you have a height advantage, attack of 5, there's nothing to sniff at, as long as you know how to use it. So
Right.
yeah, it might be worth considering getting Atlaga, whether the original miniature or of course 3D printed miniature as well, which there's options out there. So yeah, consider Atlaga, and that is looking at this Kiri warrior. All right, now let's see here. Where are we at? Okay. Oh yes. Okay. That's what we need to look at. Okay, so we are coming on next to the. Just take a breath. I'm gonna take a drink. Drinking my coffee. Okay. We are coming next to the main topic for tonight, which is the new generation customs wave 2. Volarak, right? Volarak's Vow. And this was released, I think it was last Thursday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was last Thursday. And let me just bring this up here. Volarak's Vow. And we have the ground total of 4. Count them. 4. No, there's a reason for that. 4 miniatures. And RogueScaper, would you like to explain a second, since you kind of represent new generation customs a little bit? If you want to explain that a second to the audience.
Yeah, so essentially, I'm with NGC. It's kind of our customs group that's popping up and working on things. We really focus on, just 3D printed and painted materials. Our original focus was for the unreleased Age of Annihilation stuff that was, originally that we just failed and was just kind of lost to time itself. So our mission originally was to find proxies for all those release figures. We've been scouring STL sites and all that stuff, or making them our own for like the Glide Strikers and stuff like that, like Hero Forge and stuff like that. So our goal was to kind of incorporate all that. With the news that Age of Annihilation is coming in full, we've definitely shifted direction, and I'll be happy to talk about that more later as well. But for Wave 2, we were in the process of, some of the designs weren't fully realized that were leaked or released to us, and so we were kind of just tying those up, getting them to a playable, ready level. So getting the models and powers kind of either created kind of entirely like Zed, the blimp boy, or kind of just balanced a bit like the Glide Strikers, just making sure the points are kind of at a correct cost. So those models, these 4 units are kind of ranged from being completely almost original characters to just being touched up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we're kind of labeling them as conceptual units at this point, just because they are being released officially. But we did put a lot of design work, and
Sure.
I want to give people a chance to play with them beforehand, and kind of just showcase what Age of Annihilation was offering and what we were doing on our side. So
Right.
So
Well, and it's cool, and we're gonna like browse these in a second. But I mean, I think I mostly look forward to what you guys are gonna come up with next, just from your own, imaginations, from the setting of Age of Annihilation, and what you're gonna actually bring to the table as far as the custom bits for it. So I do look forward to that. But how about we take a look at these guys real quick here? Let's see here. Where's a good list for these? I think if I... No, okay. I want to do one individually. I want to do... Maybe if I do compendium. Aha! Yeah, there we go. Alright. So... First of all, the painting is great on all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I will put that out. And was there a bit of lore for Wave 2 as well? I don't know if there...
I'm trying to remember. I think we've been teasing Wave 3 lore a bit.
Right.
Everything kind of got shuffled around with the AOA announcement. So I think
Sure.
we had some stuff. We had some plans and storylines with other figures that we were kind of introducing.
Mhm.
We were bumping those to Wave 3. So Wave 2 is honestly more just here's proof of concept to show that we were working on these, that we put the the time and effort.
Mhm.
And if you want to kind of play with them yourself, here's colorization and cards already kind of done for you. So we've labeled them as like conceptual units. Honestly, is kind of how they're mentioned. But I don't think we have any direct lore beyond what was Avalon Hill provided for these guys.
Okay. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I think there. I mean, I don't know about you, Jason and Jeremy, but when going through these, I think a couple of things that stood out to me was, well, here I'm just gonna hear Book of Air Marshal Zed Nesbitt. Of course, you got stealth flying, but the Clockwork Carrier. Let's see. I'm gonna just read this. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Chad Paris there in the chat. It says, Wave 3 lore has been teased the most. NGC has shifted to our own original stuff. We wanted to get Wave 2 out the door immediately. Wave 2 previously was not going to come out so soon. All the figures in lore moved to focus on Wave 3 and beyond. Yeah, that's understandable. Everything that has happened in the past like couple of months when it comes to Renegade, it's understandable. And I'm still glad we get these guys though. I mean, I just want to see. I want to get the Air Marshal just for the. There's 2 miniatures in one, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's two separate files that you just kind of glue on together. They fit pretty well. That was a fun one. That's honestly the blimp. Zed Nesbitt is one of the reasons we decided to release these,
Sure.
just because there was a lot of development that went into this. This is kind of NGC Zed Nesbitt. I'm all tangled up here, but essentially this one is kind of had the most design work, most finding a proper blimp and printing them out. I printed like 2 or 3 blimps before this, and some were disasters. Some had like 15 parts to put together. Didn't have stands. All kind of development work. Zed went through like I think 8 drafts before we kind of settled on something simple and easy to play with.
Right, and the way that Zed Nesbitt's ability spreads like miniatures across the field, in that it's like you could basically have, depending on the combination, like if you have a squad of 4, and then you can have a squad of 4 plus 2 others, as long as they're, let's see here, soldiers, I think, right? Soldiers, Ursine, is that Ursine or Ursin? I think it's Ursine. And or Ford.
It's
Ford figures.
Yersin.
Yersin. Okay.
With a
Yersin. I can't pronounce things, Oh, well. Anyway, yeah. So many options with these. So, and then it's kind of like you have Zed Nesbitt just flying around stealthily, and they just drop. It's almost like similar to Calgarith's ability, where Calgarith rains destruction when the dragon passes over. Only
it's just raining men. Hallelujah.
It's raining. Yeah, exactly. My goodness, you beat me to that. But yeah, I found that very interesting. Interesting ability.
It's a fun way if you want to kind of bypass the Airborne Elites drop feature. You can have them be tied to Zed, or the Glide Strikers work really well with this guy. It was really hard to create a character, as the description says, as both a sniper and a daredevil. That was so we had to how do you be far away attacking people, but also in the midst of the fray? So there was a lot of back and forth on that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm curious to know why you chose the 2 characters per activation versus making them like a Space Marine drop pod. It just comes in and everybody gets out guns blazing in one turn. I'm curious.
Like I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, like why did you go with like have him only drop 2 figures per activation versus allowing him to flap into battle and have everybody drop out at once and have him like ready to go in one activation like that?
That was more balanced, just because if you can get someone start zone, drop off 6 characters, your whole army's kind of tied up at that point. In smaller maps with 8 stealth fly-in, or 6 stealth fly-in. I'm sorry, that it could tie people down, and it's kind of more like they're slowly like go 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 type of situation. It's kind of more the vibe we wanted to emulate.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I have to say I was at ScapeCon when the first announcement launched for this wave, and I thought that like this blimp is insanely impressive. Like I was like, y'all nailed the aesthetic, because I mean you had what the prototype that they showed off at PulseCon to go off of. Not a lot there because it was just that prototype, and you were able to create this exceptionally designed figure. Like, I mean, I was like, this looks cool. Like, this looks like I would love to see this on the HeroScape Battlefield at some point.
It almost,
really,
gives me
really
Final
fun.
Fantasy vibes a little bit.
It's such a good model. I was just like, y'all found this. Like, impressive, because I mean, I don't know. I wasn't in the department of being like, oh, well, now the AOA is never coming out. We'll never see these things again. I had a genuine like feeling, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I know the HeroScape community. I know y'all are insanely brilliant. Like, I mean, it does not take a lot of time for somebody on the HeroScape forums to just create things out of thin air. So, like, I was like, well, considering we're not going to be able to get these models, I'd imagine somebody would do this. Like, I imagined that this was going to be somebody would take the time to create this. And yeah, you were able to find this exceptionally like beautiful model that like fits the role of Nesbitt so well, and then create an identity to him that we didn't have. So because we don't know his powers. We know, they drafted him. We know that he was finalized. We know that the playtesters know what he plays like, but only they do and no one else. And so with that information, you were able to craft something. Not only like the aesthetic is awesome, it's also that that's something that'd be fun to play. Got this guy zipping around shooting people from 8 spaces. I mean,
yeah, that's a nice
range goes a long way. Range
Yep.
goes always a long way. And I'd imagine your immediate goal would to try to get range with Zed Nesbitt, and then like from the range, drop stuff down, keep going back up, drop stuff down, keep going, just
that's
zipping
the
around.
fun part, because it's he has a range, so you want to not get tied up in combat, but also then you're not
keep the
deploying
forces
any
coming.
people.
Yeah, keep deploying people. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's like I really think in terms of aesthetic, both game mechanics and physical, like the model itself, very very nice choices. Would be really cool to see in a live game or something. Like kind of just see in action for sure.
Most likely, Jeremy, like we're at ScapeCon next year, I'll bring him. And then we can
Heck yeah.
have another round with him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whenever Renegade releases their version of this, how they compare.
The Avalon Hill one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That'll be interesting to see. What other thing stands out? I know, like, this one I think was kind of scary, and this one actually, I mean, I was interested in Zed Nesbitt, of course, the Void Glide Strikers, but the one card that stood out to me the most was Giroshia, I believe, Grove Keeper. The abilities are very very interesting. What it says here, the thing's thorny and it can give people wounds. Especially, and the cool thing is it says whenever an opponent's figure that is engaged with Giroshia leaves its current space, meaning because sometimes people are engaged to a miniature but can still kind of move around the miniature and not take any not take any hits. But you can't even do that against this miniature. This is something you cannot do. If you're moving around them, you're going to not take a leave in engagement, but you're going to take a Thorn Morass hit more than likely, and it's like almost a 50-50 chance of getting a wound.
It's really fun against a good strong counter without being too overpowered against armies that rely on disengagement. Like orcs will have a hard time facing against this one, but it's kind of stat spread is simple enough that you can bypass it. It's better just to kill it than run away. But so it's kind of how you use your the time that this creature hangling everyone up provides you for. This is another one I really like. Just NGC has a design philosophy kind of, I would say, theme first. We really look at the unit and we look at the character. We say, how does this feel unique and thematic on the battlefield? Like all the powers make sense. You look at it like, oh yeah, this thing is wrapping people up in vines. We get it, And then we buckle down and all right, let's make this really cool concept actually playable and not completely broken type of situation.
And with
does Thorn Morass count as a leaving engagement attack?
No,
or is it its own special thing?
They're not because it's not leaving the engagement of this. They're just trying to circle around them, so they don't leave engagement. But it's basically trying to force your opponent to keep them in their spot. And if they move, even try to move around this miniature, every time they move, you got to roll the d20. And
it's only once for each figure each turn. So once per turn they'll take it. Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say, Garushia, this version of this character scares me because when I was playing in EscapeCon, there's a significant advantage, and I mean they even told us this during the coaching at EscapeCon. If you can move your figure, move your figure. Right, even in engagements, there's value in circling your opponent, even if it seems silly. Right? It's still an opportunity to get to better ground once the engagement is over. Or sometimes I was able to gain height because I was just positioned just enough spaces up to where I could get up on the ledge, and then boom, there's an extra attack die. So now you're talking about. Not only are you still trying to take advantage of the opportunity to move around the character, but now you have to decide, do you risk that 20-sided roll to do that? And so now, Garushia is introducing a whole new question to the fighting scenario, and then you're like, crap, now I can't move around. That's the thing I just learned how to do, and now if I fight this character, I can't move around. Oh, God. So it's interesting. I'm glad that HeroScape has this fascinating ability. No matter how many characters are introduced to the game, no matter how many times we see various constructions of rule settings, there's always something new to consider in terms of adding that competitiveness and adding that play style. And now, so for that's a really cool way to make the Dryan Lifeborn Order interesting in competitive play, because now it's now you can't move around them, so you make yourself a wall of Garushias, okay, never mind, Garushia and then the other Bramblethorn. But if you're using the Bramblethorn as a means of deterring your opponent from circling around, and then you keep them in the trees, which makes it even harder to kill them because they heal every tree, every time they're by a tree and they don't move. Yeah, I mean, what's that one map they did on Escape? Dark Fulcrum had the trees. Yeah, Garushia would be insane for that map. I know they have, because they do a couple tree maps at EscapeCon, and I can imagine, if you got a Grove Keeper, just put it right there in the middle of the map. Good luck.
Yeah, and that's one thing with the Grove provides.
Even shooting it, you sit there and keep shooting it. It just keeps healing.
It's just keep healing, right? And
it's such
either
it
doesn't have to move, or if adjacent to a tree or bush. That is just.
Yeah. I'm of course, and good shout out to NGC for maintaining the flavor text, right? Because they made it a beast, they made it medium, so all the wizards can activate this character. Right. So you got the nice bonding experience with the Dryan Lifeborn Order. The way that we were told that they would operate is one wizard summoning a couple familiars to do his bidding. Now you got this thing that just won't die, and I'm like, oh no. And then if you try to surround it, now you better make sure you move your character where you want the character to be, because now that character cannot move. And you're like, ugh. Like it's a new thing to think about on the field of battle, and I think that's really cool to see.
It's a lot like Charos.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like it's this big presence. Like you engage it, it's kind of war of attrition at that point.
It's like, do I risk the counter strike? Yeah.
I think the only saving grace against this miniature would be range.
Right.
A
But even then,
type,
it's like if you put it by a tree, it just heals every time.
Or if it just stays still. But I mean, defensive 3. If you don't roll your defense right.
Oh yeah, if you whiff.
Yeah,
a bunch,
you could get wiped out fairly quick. Okay, so I think it just depends on what's going on. Yeah, and what army you're against. But yeah, no. And I think that creates a good balance. For
the HeroScaper
as well. Yeah.
This one was a fun one to figure out how to paint. I'm definitely more on the art side than the we all dabble in all the other factors, but and challenge was to paint this creature, which looks very vine-like, but we have kind of a color theme of purple and white for all the beasts of the Dryad Order. So I had to kind of figure out how do I bring that white element into a creature that's mostly vine. So that was a fun one to figure out and get going.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely the one that stood out to me. Even though I think I like one or two of these wave more. This is the one that stood out to me the most, for sure. With just those abilities, I'm like, that just makes the battlefield all that more interesting. And so here, and Dom Predator,
nice.
Dom Predator there in the chat says, those are sick cards, can't wait for these. Well, Dom Predator, actually, if you go to
they're already out.
New Generation Customs website, which there's a link in the description below, because you're watching on YouTube there, you can check out these cards right now and find ways to acquire the miniatures and get to painting them and start playing them. They're ready to be used. Now, if it comes to like tournament play, you would have to find out whoever's running the tournament if they would allow to use these. But for casual play, yeah, have at it. Yeah, these as well as Wave 1 of New Generation Customs too. Take a look into that. So.
I think we're on HeroScape.org now, so if you do have tournaments want to include these figures,
are you?
These specifically are labeled like conceptual units, so you can pick them if the tournament allowers allow it, or Wave 1 figures as well. I think we just got into the system. So.
Do you have Delta points then on your cards yet?
Delta really hasn't approached us yet. We're still kind of new in that scene, so Delta is kind of a different animal just because these are all designed new and haven't seen much tournament play as of yet.
For sure.
We're definitely open to if Delta wants to readjust those, but for now they're balanced according to their play test and how they interact with the current releases.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else, guys, that stands out? I mean, we can look at, since there's only 4. We can take a look at these other ones here. Okay. We'll look at the elephant in the room, aka airborne elite like miniatures, the Vord Glide Strikers. Here in a second. Let me just bring them up here. It's basically the airborne elite with wings.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper. Yeah, 40 points. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's see here. And Chad Paris on the chat says, Delta is an individual project. We don't have the ability to make entries into Delta because it is a closed group. Okay, I see. I wasn't sure. I mean, my mind was going to where if you guys were on like HeroScape.org and you already had the miniatures up there to select with armies, I mean, they would have, they have original points and then Delta points. I didn't know if you had that in the website as well or not. So that's where I was thinking. All right. Okay. So the Vord. The Vord. Save the Vord. These guys are interesting. Good range. And like Jason said, good with points. And the way the comments here, I'll try and reread this. Yeah, them, like the airborne elite, do not start the game on the battlefield. But so you're basically they come on when you reveal order marker, right? If I'm reading that correctly.
It's before you reveal an order marker.
Oh, before.
You can
Okay,
place
before.
one.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, I can't read.
No, you're good.
So before revealing any order marker or one that's on their card?
It says on Void Glide Striker, so it's got to be an order marker on them.
So essentially, you can deploy these guys.
Oh,
one
you're
at a
right. Yeah,
time.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you reveal an order marker, you can place one on the map, essentially, anywhere you like.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like one at a time for each order marker place, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
So they're take a bit long to deploy.
Mm-hmm.
That's where kind of Zed comes in, as they can kind of get them on the battlefield faster.
Right.
But they're really good. I think these ones were mostly the powers presented from AOA originally.
Yeah, it's AOA. So I always think it's so funny, the concept. So just kind of like spoil a little early. The Void Glide Strikers here and Haluchot, both of them were powers that we got on accident. Because one of the advertising graphics that they had made for, I think it was when they first launched, they're like, hey, this is what the new cards are going to look like. And that started that whole thing. But when they introduced the design of the new cards, they showed a picture of the Void Burrow Breaker and of the Centaur. But the powers were, so Halucia, the Centaur, and they showed those pictures, but it had the powers of Haluchot and the Void Glide Strikers. So that's where we get that information from. And then they, swiftly adjusted.
Too
and
late.
that information
You release stuff on
yeah.
the internet.
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
there
the thing.
forever.
It's like you've never faced the wrath. I should no, that's probably not the word. You've never faced the passion that is the HeroScape community. You launch anything at all, we're going to save it. We're probably going to back it. We're probably going to put it on some hard drive and bury it in the earth. And it's you done messed up. You already posted it.
Preach it.
The archiving ability of HeroScapers is so impressive. They're like, oh yeah, that one
amazing.
promo image from 2009. Yeah, I got that.
I still have that. Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, I have it near me. Probably somewhere here. But I have a hard drive of all the original, like the artworks and stuff, like the wallpapers, and I saved a lot of the original images that were on the OG website before that website was deleted. And yeah, I'm proud of being able to do that. It was a lot of work, like saving all that content. But now, now we have that, and I'm not the only one. Of course, you can get that information on HeroScapers.com. But like, it's still cool to see me and many other people out there took the time to document and keep this game's, media heritage, I guess you could call it, media legacy, still active, still available to new players now. Because I mean, there are tons of new players to HeroScape. Even now, like, people are saying, "Oh yeah, I just started a couple of years ago." They're never going to know what it looked like back then. So this is what we have, is these legacy items to be like, yeah, no, here's the images that used to be circulating on the website. You could get any day. And so that's what's so exciting about Renegades. Now Renegade could hopefully put that all back together into something that everyone can enjoy. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, no, they released those stats. We nabbed those stats. They tried to get rid of the stats, and we still have them. So NGC is releasing what was announced, or what was accidentally announced on the HasLab page, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I got a question. When it comes to, let's see here, can they fly or no? Not really.
Well, actually, no. Wait.
No, they don't have
no flying on the card.
Yeah,
they're gliding. Okay.
They got wings, but they don't have a flying ability. I don't think.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, it's the same for the OG. Yeah, they didn't actually give them flying.
Right.
They just soar in.
Glide in the battlefield. Then they drop the wings, presumably.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not think about that. Yeah, same thing with Wing Commander Tuck Harrigan. No, he has flying. Yeah. So he can fly, but
Stealth flying. Yeah.
We did
Yeah.
talk about giving these guys flying, but
Mhm.
honestly, it makes them a lot more just that flying range. It makes them go from a kind of a cheap filler squad to a very high powered army at that point. Because they're able to
Right.
place
Right.
them in, fly around. It was kind of a
It's a little broken there.
little bit of a mess that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's understandable. That is
The thought process
understandable.
of these guys, you pretty much drop them near your enemy deployment zone to cause a little bit of harassment and disruption for the first couple turns, while the rest of the army moves up.
Yeah,
And
I would imagine. Yeah, I
yeah,
think so.
they work good as well. They take 4 turns to come out, so by that point your enemy's kind of out. So they work as good end game figures to get kind of near those last kind of bits of people is what we found they work best as.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you could have slowly deploy them out, and they have good spots to pick off those remaining figures that are left on the board. Is kind of
Right.
how we found them played the most.
Kind
That's
of helps with the
interesting.
range, yeah. And especially
But if you
Yeah.
use them
if you're not
with
playing them,
Zed Nesbit, it does
yeah.
change them around a bit.
right? If you don't have the Zedness, but then yeah, just put them out, a little bit, And I mean, they have evasive, which I mean might keep one or two alive a little bit longer than normal, so that helps when trying to take pot shots at whatever's remaining in the battlefield. So yeah, I get that. I get that. All right.
40 points, bargain deal.
Bargain, yeah,
Right.
40 points. Yeah, exactly. Now, last but not least, here we have a wizard. Darn wizards, but not this one.
No, this is a good wizard.
This is okay. How do I pronounce this? Oh my goodness, the pronunciation.
I've always said Haluchot.
I was about okay. Haluchot.
Yeah.
Haluchot. Hello. I'm just gonna call him Hello now. Hello, Corruptor of Beasts. Okay,
Really cool model. on this
it's a very nice, very detailed model, and lots of things going on when it comes to the abilities as well. 125 points. That's interesting. To where it ends with a 5 instead of a 0 when it comes to points. Was there any reasoning behind that that you know of, Josiah? Or
It's on the OG.
oh, it is okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the original character was meant to be 125, which I don't know. It's an interesting concept that I noticed. They did a lot of the AOA characters have that extra 5, and I'm not a fan of extra 5s because
Yeah.
then it requires a little bit more
Yes.
math. It requires
Yes.
less. I'm like, oh man, I got the coolest army ever. Wait, no, I'm 5 points over. Like I'm like, that's so frustrating.
Definitely
Like,
not
but,
10 points
mean-
under, but 5 points over. Yeah.
Right. I imagine the goal was to make you think a little bit more in terms of army compositions.
Sure.
Like, don't just take advantage of the fact that you can bond. Like, because with Haluchot, of course, if you draft Haluchot, you're going to want to take advantage of Command of the Wild, and it's 2 small, medium, or large beasts you control. So, a Haluchot
nice.
army or a Haluchot focused army would have those two beast familiars, or for the Command of the Wild. But then, obviously, you don't want to just stock up on a bunch of beasts or whatever, and then you're just throwing a bunch of Ice Berserker trolls or something like that to the opponent. So I imagine they did that extra 5 to kind of make you think a little bit more about your familiar options.
Sure.
But that's the best. I have zero. What can I say in terms of doing the point system in HeroScape? I can't tell you how to do the point system in HeroScape. That's that math, that secret math that the devs do, and I'm just like, I believe you. I don't know how it works. I just try to work with it, and sometimes I'm like, I hate these numbers. These are not fun numbers. Then you play Delta, and you're like, oh, well, this is way different now. And it's the game completely changes, right? Because now all the points are different. So I want to see. It would be interesting to see if Delta does in fact take a shot at some of the AOA characters that we have, play them a bunch, and then be like, you know what? Let's see what they would do if they were cheaper or more expensive, and then kind of play around with that. And that would be really cool to see. But yeah, TLDR, I'm not a fan of the 5, but I can kind of, it does make me think more in terms of drafting, so
Right.
I can appreciate that much.
And this wizard can fly. which is interesting. And then also, I mean, it does close-up attacks, but also has a little range special attack, which is
staff the long hand.
Yeah, and you can use it before or after doing the normal attack, which is interesting. That the option's there for that. And then Calm the Beast. I think that actually, the Calm the Beast ability falls in line with. I think it's is it a Beast miniature from Wave 1 that just goes completely berserk and it can't be controlled. So it has potential of like killing us. Did we talk about that before? Here, hold on a second. I'll go back to Wave 1. Hold on a second. Let me see if I remember correctly. Was it the Titan? No, it wasn't. No. Yeah. Vrono, the Bramble. I think it was
Vrono the Bramble Thoth.
Yeah. Lash out. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, because it's a beast. Yeah. So this would be.
Yeah.
So Vrono might be good to go with this wizard because Lash Out we kind of had misgivings against this, and look, 85 points there. So good matchup, I guess. Because whenever Vrono is wounded by a friendly figure, you must roll 1 attack die for each opponent's figure adjacent to Vrono. If you roll a skull, the figure receives a wound. Vrono uses Lash Out even if if it receives enough wounds to be destroyed. So, yeah, and I know we raised concerns like, well, then they would be attacking, your own guys, but
so that's why he has 2 attacks then.
Right.
He can smack someone in the face and shoot this guy in the back from 6 squares away. It's a 2 attack, 2 defense, maybe 1 damage if you're lucky. And then he goes crazy and does a lot of extra damage.
Yeah. So yeah. Hello can
clever.
receive extra
like
defense.
That.
So yeah. So it's a good combination. So I understand the reasoning behind it. And I knew that NGC was going to come up with something, to go along with that, and this is apparently one of them, I imagine. So yeah, very nice, very nice. And actually, it kind of looks like the painting of Hello here. Kind of the color scheme goes well with Vrono as well, a little bit.
Yeah, so this was a fun one to paint as well because we're using that purple and white motif. So I did paint like a green one that was your traditional kind of druid colors, green, brown, reds. But I was like, you know what, I want this guy to really kind of pop out on the Ular card. So or Aular, I call him Aular normally. I don't know, I'm trying to be fancy today. But just to kind of pop out that contrasting colors. So that's kind of why we went this design route here.
It looks like a really fun wizard. It really does. I mean, I just love the stats. It's good. It's a fun day when you got 4 stats and they work.
Yeah,
Right.
this guy's action economy is really fun. You can do a lot in a turn.
Right. Yeah, I look forward to playtesting these things in the future for sure. It's yeah, it's very interesting. Just for the excitement of knowing that whatever Renegade plans to release, I know people are speculating it's like, after October 7th, they're going to might be releasing stuff, months, in months, not just, later on into 2024. We'll have to see, but yeah, we'll just have to see what they come up with, but this just makes me excited. For sure.
Yeah,
okay.
it's very, the prelude to AOA. It's very, very nice way of kind of getting people to think about what are the possibilities, and NGC's development is like, it's like, hey, what if this is what they were going for? And I think that's the cool part. It's like, yeah, let's have some fun and enjoy it, and try these things out while we wait for the official product. Because
we don't know when this guy's coming.
What else are we doing, other than waiting? So it's like, might as well have some games while we wait. And
we're all getting a bit antsy, yeah.
yeah. No, we're definitely getting a little antsy. I will say that. It's like, I do think I don't know. I think it's fun to be part of the community and just like the buzzing, the hype just generating. Like we all, I know I'm not the only one. I've had a lot of conversations with people in the background, and even Craig mentioned it at Gen Con. Like the crowdfund failure, like made us all pretty sad. Like we all kind of just fell into a pit, for a little bit. And this project, NGC's project, the Renegade development, all of this is putting life back into the community, and I think that's really nice to see. All the excitement generating and building up for the new HeroScape. So it's a very nice way to pave the road to the future.
Yeah, no, we're very excited about I have to admit, I was kind of had mixed feelings because we've been working so hard on these figures, and then they announced the release on the figures. I was like, oh, but we just kind of worked so hard to make these. But
right,
then, after a couple days, you know what, HeroScape's coming back. I'm excited, and NGC kind of serves another purpose for those that are scared about painting or I don't know what to do. We're trying to provide a lot of resources or paint guides for these figures. So if you like this color scheme for the official Howlshot, you can kind of steal it and apply it to your own, and
right.
there'll be a video on how to maybe not this one per se, but there'll be videos on how to paint these guys and so we try to have a lot of company media resources for those just kind of tentatively approaching the subject too.
And I think what's encouraging about NGC too, I think you guys started in a place where you're thinking, okay, this was our goal. But I think over time, especially with Renegade taking over AOA, you're kind of transforming a little bit and changing, and it's not a bad thing. Like you were saying, when it comes to showing people a way to paint things and getting rid of the stigma of painting and understanding the joy of painting things and the to just show how simple it actually is to do. And I know I'm going to be diving into that sometime in the future as well. That, and I really see that NGC could possibly be the type of standard that C3V is someday. And it'd be great to see customs on the AOA line that aren't AOA, but they come from the custom community, just like what C3V is. So yeah, no, I can definitely see that in the future for you guys.
Yeah, there's definitely some cool things in the pipe work we have going on. Kind of following the news of of AOA coming back, we kind of had a team meeting and said what do we want to do moving forward? How do we still be a valuable part of those who want to play? So we're workshopping some pretty much fan contests where you would submit a concept with a prompt, and the winner would work directly with us and developing a unit for an NGC wave.
Mm-hmm.
I think that announcement's going to come out September 8th. Don't quote me on that, but that's going to be
my birthday. Let's go.
Good birthday present right there. So that'll be released. So if you got some ideas cooking and you want them to actually be kind of in this process, I've discovered that everyone has ideas, but in order to make your idea work, you have to be able to kind of rip it apart and say what works about this, what's good, and kind of work in a team environment. It's so much more productive for your customs work. So we would work with you on the winner of these contests, just to really get some kind of direct community involvement in that. And we got a lot of original worlds, new places coming up as well. So yeah, we got some fun things in the pipeline. Some spooky stuff coming up appropriately.
Yes.
So yeah, am I able to reveal anything?
What's your NDA on?
Well, I told him, what, I might ruffle with this and show some stuff because I get excited, and then all right, you have all the models, so.
Do we got to guess which miniatures behind you there are going to be used for new HeroScape?
Yeah, no,
I can't
there's
see a thing without my
too
glasses.
many. You know what? I have one here. I will, I'll have him yell at me later. But so this is one we're working on. It is correct. It's a Morrow Warlord.
Oh
my goodness!
Wow!
Riding
a
look skeleton bull.
Oh, nice.
So he's coming wave 4. So that's the one we're got going on. He's one kind of thought up by me originally, so that's why I'm showing up.
Nice.
So that's coming, and we're really trying to figure out just ways to make cool looking models appear in your battlefield, really make the battlefield look great. So expect some spooky stuff coming October. Wave 3 is going to be focusing on a lot of that, and New Planet. Yeah, so I'm really excited going forward.
So how
Nice.
soon how soon are we going to see, how would I put it, like these next waves, like releasing? Do you
I
think?
think October 31st is our Wave 3 release. I think that is just because most of the stuff we've been working on actively, because since this wave was kind of a conceptual wave, or just fine-tuning existing concepts. So October 31st is you'll be seeing a lot more of that stuff. I think on Facebook, those that saw the worms showing up
Mhm.
and the creepy bell monster, those are all going to be in that wave. So there's some. After that, wave 4 is kind of up in the air. We haven't set a date on that, but we try to stick to our release dates to kind of get things out faster and not on development for a whole long time. So it's we want people to play with this stuff.
Absolutely. No, yeah, and I'm very enthusiastic and can't wait to see these waves, and of course we're going to be on here talking about them, going through them. So yeah, sounds fun. All right. Well, anything else we want to say about NGC Wave 2 before we close this segment? Anything else, guys? Nada. We're good. I'm very enthusiastic, and like I said, I got this is the only NGC miniature I have right here. So Takala Titan, nice guy. He can hit the big ones, and he can plow through the small ones. So he's fun. I can't wait to play test him a little bit more in the future. So, but yeah, so that's looking at New Generation Customs Wave 2. Cannot wait for the future waves to come out. All right.
Nice.
All right, and Sierra, looking at the chat. Marion, how you doing? Send a picture to Discord. Looks great. Yeah, I don't know if RogueScaper is able to do that, but yeah, that miniature, and for anybody who's like just listening on the audio version of the podcast, you're not gonna be able to get to see that. But you got to go to YouTube just to try and get that screenshot of what Josiah was showing there. And
breaking all the rules here.
Viters. Yeah, I know. I see that too, Jeremy. Yeah, I was gonna about mention that. If anybody wants to flag that comment on Twitch, I know Twitch. Sometimes the garbage comes out. Bots or whatever.
All automated stuff they do.
Yeah, that just gets thrown.
Don't click link, people.
Thrown it. No, don't. Yeah.
That's a virus, most likely.
Wonderful thing on the internet. Yeah, I mean, either someone flag that and shut down that whoever that channel commenter is, or I'll do it later.
I gotcha.
Yeah, thank you, sir. But yeah, so love it. Just the fact that you're showing Morrow, and yeah, I know I saw the worms too. In the way I can't wait for that. All right. So let's see here. What do we got going on next? Comments. Let's go in comments before we do final thoughts. So we do have some comments from the podcast last week, and I do want to, before looking at them, I do want to give a shout out to Dom Predator again, because before we came online, I guess he finished watching Tales of Valhalla episode 8, 9, and 10 of season 3, and he left a comment on episode 10, and I just want to let him know I did read that, and I do appreciate the kind words. And yes, it was a ton of work. I'm glad it's over, but I've been and it's still going to be a long time till like we're even like season 4 is going to be worked on. But I mean, in my mind, I'm just thinking, sometimes I just can't let it end there. I got to do more. Oh, I'm a glutton for punishment. Anyway, but no, thank you, Dom Predator, for the comments on the live chat, as well as the comment there on episode. And yeah, if anybody, I know some, like, I do have some people that watch my streams or comment on my streams that are just there just to for the podcast or whatever, but I just like that there is literally hours worth of stop motion animation content that's just entertaining, to watch. Just grab some popcorn and just enjoy, because it's a lot of. If you love HeroScape, I guarantee you probably love it. All right, now let's say I look at some of these comments. Okay, so this is from the podcast last time. Okay, and I got Windows trying to tell me what to do. Chris Gerstil says, I also really enjoyed meeting Anthony and Kristen. We had some really good games and conversations. Yeah, they were lovely people. I hope they are back next year. I really do. Along with all you other wonderful people. If you haven't gone to EscapeCon, find a way to get there, because it's fun to interact with and talk to the community of people there. All right, Demon Hunter Pillar P86. I don't know this person, but they did win a squad of Zute from the prize drawing last week. He said, "Love the group intro. I was expecting the crowd to shout, 'It's Valhalla time.'" Yeah, I don't know if everybody watched the ToV podcast to know that part, but I'm just happy they cheered. That was the hope, and they did, so it made for a little video clip, which sometime I will post just that little video clip. I already have it edited and rendered. I just got to find time to put it, I might put it on Instagram, YouTube Shorts or whatever. Probably sometime this week. I'll post it up there, so it'll be up there real quickly for people to look at. And here, hold on 1 second. Let's see. Oh, okay. Something's being posted here. I just want to look at this. OMG. Oh, Josiah, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do, Ray? What did you do? Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Stop the presses. Hold on. I gotta post this on the stream now. I'm sorry. I gotta. Here, hold on a second. I'm gonna find a way to download this thing. See, I'm gonna just do that and put it there. And okay, hold on 1 moment. All right, here's the. Okay, get that and pop that up there. Look at that. Just look at that. Oh no, there's more. Looks like there's more. Just look at that guy. Wow. That kind of looks like Amaro. I'm reminded, kind of like Evil Raylan, and her steed, that we were shown a little bit.
I really like the nod to Subakna, because I know that's a big debate in the lore communities.
Too. Yeah.
Is what is Subakna's mount? Is it a dragon? Is it a Morrow dragon? Is it a skeletal dragon? I mean, that's that thing that they've never really answered yet.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you've chosen to incorporate a new skeletal mount is pretty nice nod to Classic Scape. I think that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yes.
We haven't reached that answer yet either, so we're still.
I know, right? It's just nobody knows, but it looks cool. It's really cool at this point. I want to say that's what I'm pretty sure they just thought a Morrow dragon skeleton would be awesome, and they didn't really think of the implications of what would happen if they put a Morrow on top of a skeleton. It's wait, what is it?
Don't be surprised, Josiah, if this kind of turns into the video cover for whenever we talk about NGC.
No, it's a really solid option.
And then you got the bugs in the background. Look at those things. Oh, bugs. Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. I'm done. I'm good. Everybody good? Okay. But yeah, and then Demon Hunter says, and thanks for the Zute, and no, you're very welcome. I'm glad to give out prizes as much as I possibly can for the community. So yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Now, next comment is we have Wayne Kotzer, I believe. says, if I can read all this, I don't know what. Again, Microsoft likes to update things and then makes it more difficult to read things. Here, hold on. Okay, you mentioned 3D printing Mara dividers. Yeah, we did last podcast. I bought 3 squads of those 3D printed and primed and painted them. That color scheme is super easy, or otherwise I wouldn't have done it. Number 1, prime. Number 2, a light flesh tone paint. Number 3, metallic gray for helmets and claws. Number 4, a rust wash over everything. 5, affix onto bases, and done. Yeah, I know. Dividers is something I don't have, and if I got to paint some, I think I will. So no, thank you so much, Wayne, for that comment and advice. I will definitely keep that in mind for that. And good instructions for anybody out there who doesn't have Mauer dividers, which is probably a lot of us, and get some on the cheaper end. And then Kaitsuki86 says, almost made 3 hours, and that was last live stream. Yes, but we didn't. We'll have to try and do that some other time. Definitely not going to be tonight. It's a little bit shorter of a stream tonight. But I know there's a stream or two in the coming months towards the end of the year that we might not just go 3, we might go 4. I don't know. We'll try and break that record. But it won't be tonight. Tonight we are, let's see here, comments. So we're moving on to final thoughts now. So and that's what we're going to do. Jeremy, go ahead and start. Of course, and before, like I said, everything we talk about, everything we mention, links, whatever, should be links in the description below on YouTube. So go ahead and check out, click those, press all the buttons, and subscribe, and do all these things. But Jeremy, go ahead, give your final thoughts and plug away.
Alrighty. Awesome. Thank you so much once again for the invite to the podcast. Thank you, Rogue Idealist, for joining us. It's always fun to have guest members of the community come in and give their insight and the cool ideas. And we finished Thormun Journal Chapter 2. I think that's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to get more into the, I guess you could, heavier aspects of the story in the next 3 chapters when we start going through those. A lot of discussions, a lot of events happening in those next 3 chapters. I think at this point it also does get there's a little back and forth, so it's going to be really interesting to go through those. So I'm pretty excited to talk about that. But Thormun's Journal, always fun thing to talk about. And Atlaga, the character that had an introduction years ago, and then we finally get a character only for him to not have a bio, even though he's in the Thormun's Journal, and he's the only him and Jotun are the only crossover characters that met the D&D characters. We have no indication of the D&D characters meeting anyone else. So, they like Atlaga somehow, but they never gave him his official bio, and I'm like, bruh. But, maybe we'll see that in the future. Renegade, if you want to work on that, lots of people would love to see these Wave 9 bios that we've been waiting for since 2009. So, it would be an awesome present, for sure. And then, great work from NGC as always. Really, really glad to see this continued effort to introduce the ideas of 3D printing for custom characters and finding really, really well designed models to represent the ideas that were introduced to us last year. Like I said, everyone's like, well, if it's already coming out, then what's the point? This is, like I said, it's a prelude. It gives you a chance to kind of experiment with the what ifs, add a little fun flair to your current gaming experience. I don't know if you're like me and, when you go to ScapeCon and you're constantly playing against the Roman Legionnaires every single match, because yes, the Roman Legionnaires are amazing, but man, does it get a little irritating. You're like, oh my God, it's the Romans. Who would have thought that you would have drafted this A+ unit? It just, now there's a chance to kind of mix things up, try things out, kind of see how AOA is going to touch and go with some of the stuff. And, it's just a fun, and like I said, the aesthetics are really on point. The models that were chosen were really, really well done in terms of decision making and when it comes to those designs. And so, super excited to see what you have planned for the original work themed off their AOA's concepts. And in terms of, I think all I have left to mention. I know we didn't really get a chance to cover it in the show core, but just to kind of put that announcement out there to remind everyone, October 7th, mark your calendars. October 7th, 3:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Renegade Con, the Renegade convention that they run. They're going to be doing it for 2 days, but on the second day, they will be introducing the HeroScape dev team for the first time. So putting it out there now so you can mark your calendars and prepare to go say hi to the people who will hold the future of HeroScape in their hands. No pressure to them, of course, but we definitely want to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, what you gonna do? You know, like kind of just, you know, lots of people are really hyper and excited to hear from you all, but also good luck with, you know, decision making. You know, kind of warn them ahead of time. Someone's gonna be mad. There's always one mad person. Just, you know, just let them vent and then keep going. You got this. But no, yeah, it's really important that I wanna kind of gear the community up and be like, let's go into Renegade Con. Let's participate with the Renegade community and be like, hey, you know, thanks for taking this game, taking the mantle of producing this game for us. And we want to say hi. And we want to be like, yeah, let's work together to bring this game back. And it's going to be pretty exciting. So yeah, prepare for that. October 7th, once again, October 7th, 3:00 Pacific Standard Time. They will be introducing the HeroScape team. They got a whole hour, by the way, and there's no breaks. So who knows what will be mentioned in that hour? Nobody knows. Just introducing the HeroScape team. So we don't know what exactly that entails. And then from there, what new information we'll be getting later on. So yeah, but the good news is they found a HeroScape game producer. So that role has now been filled. That individual is now going to be taking that place, and they will be introducing themselves officially on that day. That's going to be pretty cool. Yep. No, with that, that's everything from me. I am Croton or Jeremy or Majora's Incarnation. It really depends on what place of the internet you find me in. But I run the SM Collate. It is a content creation platform focused on lore and narrative of video games, tabletop games, and of course, HeroScape. And, you know, I Twitch stream, I'm on YouTube, I throw out a bunch of random stuff here and there. But if you do ever want to ask me any lore questions at any time, feel free to DM me. You know, you can find me on Discord as Croton, and you can find me on Twitter as the Essalin. And yeah, I'm always down to answer any lore questions you might have. So, see you around.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And I yield my time.
You yield your time. As I was waiting for that, but I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't say it this time.
Is that required to say that now at the end of thing?
It's an aesthetic, you know. It's like Joe started it, and now I'm just like, I remember this phrase, and yeah, so yeah, that's our thing now.
Yeah, apparently so. We have lots of things, you know. So
yeah,
that we do now. All right, Jason, go ahead.
All right. Well, I guess a short thing to say was I like some of the miniatures you guys have chosen here for your second wave. I really like the Druid character and, of course, the Vord Glide Strikers. I just absolutely love those things, at least to see them in a somewhat complete, I guess not somewhat, but a complete form, at least for now, and the way we can play with them, that's awesome. And yeah, that's basically my short wrap-up of everything tonight, because, you know, I like to keep things simple, short, and quick like that. So, anyway. Boom. I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield, Rocker Robotics on YouTube, or tabletopbattlefield.com. And for about another 2 weeks, I'm still running my crowdfunding campaign for these 3D printable sci-fi miniatures just hanging around over here. 32mm scale, near-future military vehicles. So, all right.
And link is in the description below for that too. So
thank you.
Still in the description below. Go ahead and check that out. Give them some support. All right, thank you, Jason. And Josiah, go ahead, sir.
And yes, I just again, this is my happy place. I love listening to you all talk about things I can't even begin to remember. Yeah, I just excited for the future of HeroScape. It's a good time to be a scaper. Good things are in the pipeline for HeroScape, and on my personal channel, I plan to be a lot more consistent, release a lot more tutorials and just fun stuff for the scaper wanting to kind of get into the more aesthetic side of the game and figure that out. I just released a video featuring a spin around of all the classic characters, so it's a good awesome resource for painters or for your game night just to play in the background. And I plan on streaming paint tutorials, be a bit more consistent on that. On Twitch, every Tuesday is when I'm trying to strive for now. So, Yeah, I just like HeroScape too much. I'm surrounded by plastic and I love it. But
We're
yeah,
all
no, it's
nerds
just
here.
Yep.
good time to be a scaper. I think there's exciting things in the future, and definitely just if you have an idea that you want to have some HeroScape content you want to make it. I'm really big on just encouraging other people to start making stuff because there's so many different aspects of this game that I think if you have to be fully explored.
All right, thanks, sir. And check out his channel, yes. And again, links, everything, description below. Check him out. Check him out. Subscribe. Do all those things. And what's your Twitch channel? Because I know you stream.
Twitch, it's Rogue Idealist.
Rogue Idealist. Okay.
I go by Rogue Idealist. I called it RogueScaper just because I wanted to be exclusively scape focused. So
for sure.
In the future, maybe I'll have more Rogue branded channels.
For sure. And he does a good job with painting, so good person to learn from. All right. Now, okay, before we get to a close, and now Jeremy mentioned something about October 7th, and I do want to say something a little bit about that because, I mean, we saw that date, what was it, about a week ago or so, I think?
Yeah, they announced it on the Discord.
Right. And so immediately right away, I'm just like, okay, got to do something. So this, and I still have to work out everything out, but more than likely the ToV podcast will be live streaming sometime before. My guess is probably like we'll start an hour before the actual HeroScape team meeting event to speculate on what's going to be talked about, and then going to watch, no, probably not on the stream. We're not going to show it on the stream. We'll recommend everybody go to Renegade's stream, but we will watch it and have reactions to it on our stream, whatever first impressions, and then after that segment is done, then talk about whatever information that we gleaned. That'll be 3 hours. That'll probably be about 3 to 4 hours to do that Saturday. It'll be late Saturday afternoon, early evening on October 7th. So yeah, planning on that. Plan to be there because it's kind of what like Avalon Hill tried to do with us last year, only I'm just going to do it, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We invite ourselves.
We invite ourselves. And yeah, I try to pull as many people on the panel. And like I said, when Renegade announced it, on the day that I think we saw that announcement was shown, I had so many people message me like, "Hey, are you gonna do a live stream tonight?" And part of me wasn't planning it, but the other part of me was just like, "Yeah, I kind of need to." And I had a panel of people that wasn't usually is with me, and so that's what's the beauty of this podcast is that doesn't necessarily have to be the people that are regularly on. Anybody can hop on and have comment on HeroScape and have a fun time. So it might be a different panel. It might be a mix of who you know and who you don't know. We'll have to see, but either way, it's going to be a fun time. Have people coming on, commenting on that. And like I said, I still need to plan on that, figure out everything out when it comes to it. But more than likely, we're definitely going to do something on that day. So with that, I guess all I got to say is, yeah, check out my channel, YouTube channel, Tales of Valhalla. And what I do primarily is a stop motion content based off the board game HeroScape called Tales of Valhalla, The Aftermath Chronicles, which centers primarily on the Airborne Elite and the adventures they take in the world of Valhalla. And yeah, have 3 seasons out there, just finished the 3rd season, and the ending, in my opinion, is epic. I think most people think it's epic. And look forward to doing more in the future, although right now I'm taking a long break because it took 10 years to do all that stuff. So yes, definitely taking a break. But yeah, it's literally hours worth of stop motion content, as well as running the ToV podcast here, which is taking up space as well on the YouTube channel and behind the scenes stuff. There's lots of stuff. to see and enjoy about the greatest game of all time, undisputed, HeroScape. And we'll be live streaming. I usually live stream every Sunday and Wednesday. This Wednesday, probably going to be doing the same thing I did last Wednesday, which is sorting through all my HeroScape miniatures. It's not as, I mean, there are some people who definitely have more, but I have a ton. And so I guarantee you I'll still be sorting through those, have a conversation with anybody who wants to come on. Had a wonderful conversation with Justin last Wednesday, so anybody wants to come on, talk, that's what I'll be doing. And also, oh yeah, and I have 2 cameras now. It's a multi-camera type stream too when I do that, so that's fun. Anyway.
Nice.
Thank you everybody for listening. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube or Twitch, those of you on the audio sphere listening to the sound of our wonderful voices on Spotify or another venue, thank you so much for listening. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye.